sometimes it makes me wonder with men who struggle a lot with their emotions. I'm wondering if it's because first, they didn't have a father figure in their lives or a male role model in their lives. But second, I'm wondering if it's because they were around women a lot, majority of their lifetime. So they didn't know how to process their own emotions. And, as they got older, they found out that I need to know how to work with my emotions, but I don't know how to. And that's when they get frustrated. And a lot of times they cannot maybe hold relationships very well or whatever. Because to be able, to raise a well-rounded child, it's good when they receive that emotional perspective on things from the mother and receive that logical perspective on things from the father. So some of you maybe are tuning in because you saw my post on Instagram and you just wanted to say, okay, so how is she really going to explain herself on some of these points, I mentioned on Instagram. But everything I'm going to talk about here today is my point of view. It's how I've been raising my kids. It's the things I've observed from raising my two boys as a single mother. So some of the pointers might be things that you're already doing, but maybe not. Either way, I just think some of these things are almost like fundamentals. It's things that globally, as single mothers, we can pay attention to, especially if you're raising boys, because they're kind of a different breed, the way they operate. So if it's your first time tuning in, thank you for your support, and I'm hoping you get to stay throughout the as well. If you have been tuning in for a while now, thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. So our conversation today is going to just be regarding boys. Again, these are just my own personal opinions and observations. If you want to apply them to how you want to raise your kids, great. If not, just let me know on the if you like this conversation, if you like what I'm saying, and if you don't like it, let me know as well on the comments. Just also give this video a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Either way, just let me know on the comments why you like it or not like it. Have any suggestions or anything else to add, feel free to leave it on the comment as well. If you're a guy and you're tuning in just to hear what I'm going to say, please feel free to leave your comment as well, because I'd love to know what you think. Are you agreeing with me? Are you disagreeing? And why? Either or. So these are the key things that I've shared on Instagram, and I'm gonna share them here, but just in detail, and maybe I might add a couple more things. So I also understand people get divorced for different reasons. People get separated from their partner for different reasons, and people decide the other parent shouldn't see the children or the kids or the boys for different reasons. Maybe there is abuse, or maybe the father is not a great person. Maybe they're a drug dealer. Maybe they just don't have great characteristics, and you don't want any of that to rub off onto your son. It makes sense. I don't argue about that. But what I'm saying is, when the father wants to be involved, if it's anything to do with your own personal agenda or your own personal frustrations toward the guy, and which is fine, you can hate men or you can hate women, up to you. I don't really care. I'm not here to judge nobody. I'm just here to voice my opinion and what I think. But what I'm gonna say is, though, is when you don't want their son to have that connection with their father, that is uncool. It's just not nice. I would encourage you to set those feelings to the side and think more about the boys. I really think it makes things easier, communication easier. And some people would say, well, unless he pays child support, I don't see why he should be involved in his son's life. It does not matter. I feel very funny when people talk about, well, if he's not paying any child support, he shouldn't see his son. Like, listen, put the child support to the side. You're eating, right? You can afford things, right? Well, give it to the child. Let the child, when he gets older, let the child decide if they don't want to have any communication with their father because their father did not contribute anything as far as child support. This is a very controversial topic. Okay, so the session today is going to just be regarding boys. So key things I learned raising my boys as a single mother. We're going to attack all of them at once. Just kidding. So I did mention that having a good relationship with the father is key. For me, it has been helpful because I've seen that anything we need to communicate about our son has gone smoothly just because we have that good relationship. Now, I'm not saying it's gravy all the time. There are times when, we fuss and whatever, but we bring ourselves back to remember it's not about us, it's about our son. And so a lot of things have been smooth because of that. The one thing I would say has been wonderful or has been great is that discussing big things like faith or things like school, medical. Those are important things to decide on. So when you have that good relationship, your communication becomes easier on big issues like that involves your son's well-being. Only fathers can teach their sons how to become men. Well, I mean, how else can I say this? I'm a woman, I can teach a girl how to become a woman better than teaching a son how to become a man, because I'm not a man. I don't know what goes through their heads, what goes through their body, what changes physically, mentally, spiritually as they grow. So it's only fair to say fathers can teach their sons how to become men better than women. Boys will crave and possibly seek a male role model in their lives if they don't have one close to them or at home. So there are some things that boys will only talk about with another man or male figure in their lives, and that's it. I mean, there's not so much to talk about this. It does not matter how close you are with your son. There are some things, it's like a code. They just talk to another man about it. And it's not that because they're not so close to you, or they don't love you enough, or they just don't feel comfortable talking to you about. No, they love you, they appreciate you, they're very close to you, but this is just something they just want to talk to another man about, and that's about it. And so that's why it's so important to find them a male role model that you trust, that you're comfortable with, that can go to when they have these kinds of thoughts or things they want to talk about, but they can't talk to you about it. They can talk to you. There's a way men talk to boys. There's just a way. It's different. It's amazing. That's all I can say. So me and my kids, we're very tight. We're very close. My kids can tell me anything. We can talk about anything. But one thing I've noticed is that there are some things he's very comfortable just talking to his father about. And I don't even fuss about it because it's men talk. I don't need part of it. I don't need to know what they're talking about. That's their business. And I think it's just out of respect that they want to communicate with another male figure or with a man that they look up to or is their role model, or if it's their father, because they feel like they can be understood better. So that's on that. And another thing is, with us mothers, we love our babies so much. We have been carrying them for 9 months. I mean, it's expected that we're going to be bathing them. You know, we're going to baby them because these are like little thingies, you know. They're just so cute. But they grow. We forget that they grow. They become their own person. And so once they become their own person, it's hard to tame them. It's really hard to like try to fix them because they just are their own person. You know, so we have this saying in my country. It says "Samaki mpunje angali mbichi." It's a proverb. What that means is anything molded while it's still, you know, soft. Because once it gets hard, you cannot mold it. That's basically what the proverb is saying. So you have to instill structure and discipline and everything while they're still very young. And I would encourage you, if you have been that single mother that babies their boy so much, I would encourage you to stop. If they're 6, 7, don't baby them anymore. Don't baby them anymore. You're just going to cause yourself problems in the future. And the reason why I'm saying that is because once they reach that age 6, 7, they're starting to understand even more about things around them, about life, about respect for themselves, up their space. They're learning a lot of things. So this is the time, if they didn't have good grounds before they reach 6, 7 years old, it's really going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult because when boys get to 13, at least this is what I've observed, that's when they're trying to figure themselves out, because this is the time they hit puberty. And this is the time they're trying to understand their position in their space, in other spaces. Like, who are they? They're trying to figure themselves out. So their emotions are crazy. This is the time when they have that role model, a man in their lives, it's easy for the man to help guide them, how to address their emotions, how to deal with their emotions, how to express emotions and frustrations. And so it really does help a boy child to be more matured and understanding. And it doesn't mean that they're not going to be crazy, because sometimes children, they can be raised by both parents, and once they hit that age of maturity, 13 and up, they just start finding themselves, and they just go there because they're going through different emotions. So they become difficult sometimes. Not all children, but not all boys, but some. And so, you know, don't be surprised a boy child can be raised by both mom and dad. They can get all the love they need. They can get all the direction, everything, but still turn out to be very problematic. But you will see those cases are there, but maybe not as many as where the child has only been raised by a single parent. With this said, but then the interesting thing is though, a girl child can be raised by a man, just like their father, and they will turn out to be great. Like, it won't even faze them about not being there. But boys, when they don't have their father, it's a whole different story. It's a whole different story. So this leads me to boys love learning from their fathers or their role models. Well, they might get frustrated by that man, by their fathers or their role model. They still love them to death. There's something just about a boy and his father. That's it. They love learning from their father or anybody who's their role model that is a male figure, and that's just about it. It doesn't matter how sometimes they get frustrated with them. They still just, at the end of the day, they love that man. They love their father, and that's it. A father care, love, and presence means a lot to a boy than a woman would ever understand. I've heard this so many times from men. Well, like I said before, boys, they are just built differently compared to girls, and so they need a sense of identity. So the father or the male role model help them develop this sense of identity and self-esteem, which in turn helps the boy understand what it means to become a man. So it's key. It's important. Self-esteem, sense of identity is so important when boys are growing up. That's just how it is. So what I'm trying to say is, a boy needs mental toughness. A boy needs so much mental discipline. That's what helps them and shapes them to a greater man when they become an adult. Mothers from back in the day, I don't know what they used or what they did, because a lot of them were single, were able to raise great kids, great men, and maybe not all of them. But in our world today, it seems like that is so difficult. It's just hard. Men who was raised by single parents, single mothers, it sounds like they just struggle a little bit more when they become adults. Again, these are just my own personal opinions and observations. I have friends who were raised by single mothers who are now very successful, raising great families, just wonderful men in the society, wonderful fathers, wonderful husbands, and they would mention that too, that they want to participate in their sons' lives so much because they didn't get that part from their fathers, and they know how much they missed out, that they wish their fathers were there to show them or to guide them or to teach them. So that's why they're holding on to their sons so much and trying to teach them how to become men. And I have to give it to these men, because they didn't have an example, but they decided they're going to be an example out of however they raised themselves. So, it's really difficult. And thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification button. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed the topic. Let me know what you think below on the comments. See you soon. Stay well.